It looks peaceful, doesn't it? A soft jade charm gently tied to your keys. But in Feng Shui, even peace can hold energy too long. Jade absorbs, jade remembers, jade protects. Unless it's tired, or placed somewhere it no longer breathes. And then, it starts to hold not just luck, but everything else you forgot to let go. You clip it on without thinking. A soft green stone, a gift, a charm, a quiet piece of jade. In Feng Shui, jade is sacred. It doesn't shout, it absorbs, it shields. But protection is a two-way street. When jade carries energy yours, others, even forgotten mood sit begins to hold more than peace. If money feels slow, if you're restless for no reason, maybe your jade isn't broken. Maybe it's just full. Let's look at 5 hidden ways your jade keychain could be holding back your wealth energy. If you've been carrying jade just because it feels lucky, I get it. I used to do the same. But in Feng Shui, it's not just what it means. It's how it's treated. This video is part of a quiet little playlist, just us and these keychains, where we clean up tiny mistakes and make space for wealth again. So yeah, stay till the end. The last tip might shift more than you expect. You ever just toss your keys near your charger? Like, right where your phone and earbuds always are? I used to think it didn't matter. But jade's not made for noise. It doesn't bounce it back, it holds it. It always started the same way. I'd come home, toss my keys down, usually by the edge of the desk. Sometimes next to my laptop, sometimes half on top of my phone. Didn't think twice, just habit. That little jade charm, it was always there, quiet, peaceful. I thought it was doing its job, keeping my energy clean, protecting my luck. But that desk, it wasn't peaceful at all. Laptop always on, charger cords everywhere. That weird hum from the Wi-Fi box I never bothered to move. And right there in the middle, my jade keychain. Sitting in the middle of all that buzzing, restless electric noise. I didn't realize it then. But in Feng Shui, jade doesn't just protect, it absorbs. It listens, it holds, it keeps what's around it. So while I was letting the day's chaos pile up around it, notifications, static, clutter, my jade was soaking all of that in. And slowly, it stopped being protective. It got tired. Like me. That's the mistake. Not the jade itself, but where we place it and what we unknowingly ask it to carry. You feel foggy. Money slips your mind. Payments late, mental noise. It's not chaos outside, it's just jade holding too much. I didn't just move it. I reset the relationship. First, I cleaned the jade with a soft cloth. No water, no soap, just a gentle wipe. In Feng Shui, that's called brushing the qi. You don't just clean the object. You clear what it's been holding. Then I looked for a new spot. Somewhere still, away from chargers, screens, wires. I chose a small ceramic dish on a low wooden shelf near the window. Not because it's fancy, but because it feels quiet. And I added something simple. A red cotton thread, looped once through the key ring. In Feng Shui, red means protection. It tells the jade, this energy is yours, nothing enters without care. I didn't say a mantra. I didn't light incense. Just placed it down. Slow, with presence. That was the ritual. Since then, I still carry it. But now, when I put it down, it's not in the middle of noise. It's in a space I chose with intention. That's the fix. Not a cleanse. A conversation. It didn't change overnight. I still had days I'd come home exhausted. Drop my bag, sigh, grab my phone. The habit was strong. But there was this one Tuesday. Rainy. I was carrying too much. And I saw the jade keychain about to fall into that old corner, right by the power strip and cables. For some reason, I caught it mid-drop, just held it. My hand was shaking a bit, not from fear, just the kind of tired you don't notice until you pause. I walked it over slowly to that little ceramic dish, the one I set up last week, still by the window, still quiet. And as I placed it down, I exhaled. Not a deep breath, just one I'd been holding without knowing. That night, I didn't touch my phone until an hour later. Didn't open any bills. Didn't feel like I had to fix everything. It was just still, and so was I. That was the moment I realized. It wasn't about where the jade was. It was about where I chose to stop repeating noise. Since then, things have felt softer. Not louder, not faster. Just softer. I still carry the jade. Still clip it to my keys. But now, it's not bumping into cords or getting buried under receipts. It has its place. And honestly, so do I. I started remembering small things again, like where I put my wallet, what bill was due next week. I wasn't scrambling as much. The rush felt less sharp. Even the way I locked my door each morning, it slowed down. Less slam, more quiet click. The jade didn't bring luck in a dramatic way, but it cleared just enough static so I could start hearing my own rhythm again. Since then, things feel lighter. I still carry it, but now I know where it rests matters. Jade doesn't block noise, it holds it. And that's just the first place it gets stuck. You ever notice a tiny crack in your jade and just ignore it? Like, it's still fine, it's just a scratch? But in Feng Shui, even the smallest fracture means the energy's already leaked. What you're holding isn't protection anymore, it's memory. I saw the crack maybe a month after I got it. Just a hairline near the edge. Barely noticeable unless the light hit it. I remember thinking, it's still fine. I mean, it's not broken. And then I did what we all do. I told myself it still worked. That it still carried meaning. That throwing it out would feel wrong. I kept using it. Kept carrying it. Even though every time I touched it, something felt a little off. That's the tricky thing with jade. It's beautiful, protective, but sensitive. It holds energy the way skin holds memory. And when it cracks 7 slightly, it's like the energy starts leaking out. Not in one big burst, but slowly. I started forgetting little things. Feeling weirdly stuck. Like my money rhythm was off. Like I was trying to move forward but dragging invisible weight. And I realized it wasn't just about the jade being cracked. It was me avoiding the discomfort of letting go. That's the real mistake. Not the crack, but the way we pretend it doesn't matter. Just so we don't have to feel loss. That energy shows up as hesitation. You feel indecisive, cluttered, weighed down by small things. Financially, you might find yourself looping spending, regretting, doubting, then doing it again. Jade is meant to flow, not freeze. The shift didn't come from some big feng shui rule. It came from one quiet evening. I was holding the jade, turning it in my fingers. The crack caught a bit of light and something in me just sighed. I realized I'd been carrying it like a memory, not like a protector. And memories don't block energy. They hold on to it. So I made tea, Saturday down. And I did something I'd been avoiding. I thanked it. Not out loud. Just softly, in my mind. You stayed with me through a lot. And now, I'm ready to let you rest. Then I wrapped it in red cloth soft cotton, nothing fancy. Red means protection in Feng Shui. It seals the energy and tells the piece, you did enough. I took a walk to the back garden, dug a little hole under a tree I liked, placed the wrapped jade inside, covered it. No big ritual, just a quiet ending. And that night, when I touched my keys, they felt lighter, like something had been unhooked. For days after, I kept reaching for it. Not consciously, just muscle memory. I'd unlock the door and expect the jade to press against my thumb. That cool little curve I always touched without thinking. But it was gone. And each time I remembered, there was this weird mix of emptiness and relief. One night, I was looking for a receipt in my bag and found the old pouch I used to keep the jade in. I opened it instinctively. It was empty, and I smiled. Not a big smile, just the kind where your body exhales without asking. That's when it landed. I hadn't lost something. I'd finally stopped carrying what no longer needed to follow me. In the days after I let it go, things didn't magically fall into place, but something shifted. I wasn't rushing out the door anymore. I wasn't misplacing receipts or avoiding my bank app. I started feeling more clean, like I'd made space not just in my bag, but in my attention. There was no more tug when I touched my keys. No more quiet guilt wrapped around a cracked stone. I even caught myself one morning, just standing still, breathing, before I left the house. No checklist, no buzz. Just stillness. That's what shifted. Not luck, not money overnight, but the way my energy stopped leaking into something that had already finished its job. And when I stopped carrying what was cracked, I started carrying myself differently too. It's just a jade charm. It should be safe in the car, right? Tucked in the console, out of sight, no big deal. Or is it? Cars don't just move us, they move energy. And jade, it's not meant to ride that storm. I used to think. It's just a charm. Leaving it in the car's fine. It's not like it'll break. So I kept it there. Slipped between receipts, lip balm, that old pack of gum. Sometimes in the glove box. Sometimes under the seat. Just out of the way. And honestly, I forgot about it. For days, then weeks, sometimes months. But here's what I didn't realize. Cars don't rest. Even when parked, they hold movement. Heat rises, energy swirls, screens blink, doors slam. And jade? Jade was never made to live in a space like that. In Feng Shui, jade needs air, stillness. It listens, absorbs. And when you trap it in a box full of noise and heat, it starts soaking in everything: motion, tension, even the stress you leave behind after a bad day. It becomes heavy, not to touch, but in energy. That's the mistake. Not that you forgot it, but that you stopped treating it like it matters. You may start feeling scattered, harder to focus when driving. Unexpected expenses, repairs, missed directions. Small stuff piling up, It's not bad luck. It's the energy echoing where your jade's been stuck. The day I found it again, it was buried under some receipts and an old parking pass. I pulled it out. It was hot, not just warm hot. Dull, dry. I held it in my palm. It felt like it had been holding its breath. Maybe so had I. I didn't rush, just took it inside. Set it down by the sink while I made tea. Then I filled a small bowl water, a pinch of sea salt. Dropped in the jade. Let it rest. That's the part we forget. We carry things, they carry us. But sometimes they need time to let go too. After an hour, I took it out. Dried it with an old cotton towel. Then placed it near my bedroom window, where morning light touches it, but nothing else interrupts. No longer just a keychain. Now a piece I greet. Not carry, not toss. Invite. I didn't expect anything to change. I mean, it was just a keychain, right? Just jade. But the next few mornings felt different. I'd walk past the shelf, and for some reason, I'd glance at it. Not because I had to, just like it was part of the room again. One morning, I was late. Real late. I grabbed my bag, phone, slammed the door, and then stopped. I walked back. Looked at the jade. Didn't touch it, didn't pick it up. Just looked. I don't know why. Maybe I felt bad for forgetting it all those weeks in the car. Maybe I just missed being still. But that pause, it slowed me down in the best way. And for the rest of that day, I didn't feel like I was chasing time. After that day, I started noticing little things. Like, my mornings didn't feel as chaotic. I still had the same tasks, same commute, but the edge was gone. I wasn't forgetting stuff as much. Wasn't snapping when traffic got weird. Even my coffee tasted better somehow. It wasn't like the jade fixed everything, but maybe in giving it a calmer space, I gave myself one too. The keychain felt lighter when I held it. Or maybe I just did. Either way, it wasn't about jade being magic. It was about not leaving sacred things in forgotten places. And maybe I had been one of those forgotten places too. At one point, I had 6 different things on my keys. Evil eye, jade, crystal shard, a tiny golden pixie, even a coin. All for luck, all at once. But luck isn't louder when it's crowded. And jade doesn't like sharing noise. It started small. Just a jade keychain I really liked. Then someone gave me a red thread with a gold knot. Good for protection, they said. So I added it. Then came a tiny evil eye. Then a coin charm I got at a temple. And after that, well, I kinda lost count. My keychain was full. Not just of stuff, but of meanings I didn't fully understand. I thought I was being safe, that I was covering all the base money, focus, protection, peace. But slowly, it started to feel off. Like when you wear too many perfumes at once. Nothing smells right. In Feng Shui, every charm holds a vibration. Jade is soft, deep, quiet. It doesn't shout. It listens. But when it's squeezed next to fire symbols, sharp metals, and high-alert talismans, its energy gets drowned. Not broken, just overwhelmed. That's what happened. I overloaded the keychain, trying to protect myself from everything. But instead of clarity, I created confusion. And jade? It just sat there silenced. You start feeling unsettled. Not unsafe, just uncentered. You second-guess yourself more. Buy things you don't really want. Say yes when you meant no. It's not that your energy is blocked. It's just pulled in too many directions. So I did something I hadn't done before. I emptied everything. Just dumped my whole keychain onto the table. The jade, the coin, the evil eye, the red knot, the tiger's eye, all of it. For a moment, I just sat there, staring at the pile, realizing I didn't even remember why I added some of them. Then I picked each one up, slowly. Not to judge, just to feel. I asked myself, do I still connect with this? Not is it pretty or was it expensive, but does this still feel like me? And the jade? The moment I held it, it felt like an exhale. Not flashy, not buzzing, just steady. And that's what I needed. I took a soft string neutral color, no symbol, and gave jade its own space. Not mixed in, not competing, just clear. I clipped it to my work bag, alone. Let it move when I move. Rest when I rest. No more charm traffic jam. Just one piece I could actually feel again. That night, I didn't do anything fancy. No altar, no candle. Just me and a pile of keychain stuff spread across the table. I picked up the jade. It was smaller than I remembered. Or maybe everything else had just gotten too loud. I sat there a while, holding it. No music, no talking, just quiet. At one point, I caught myself smiling. Not big, just a small, tired smile. Like I'd finally found something that wasn't asking for anything. No promises, no powers, just presence. And it hit me. I'd been collecting charms, hoping one of them would make me feel safe enough. But none of them worked. Because I didn't trust the quiet. That night, I clipped jade to its own ring. Just one. And for the first time in a long time, my keys didn't feel like armor. They just felt like mine. After that, things didn't suddenly fall into place. I still had deadlines, still got overwhelmed sometimes. But there was more space inside me. It's hard to explain. Like I'd stopped carrying layers of noise I didn't even realize I was holding. I didn't reach for my keys as frantically. Didn't feel that weird tightness when leaving the house. Even the way I locked the door, slower, more present. And money stuff? I wasn't chasing or hoarding. I was choosing. With a calmer kind of confidence. It wasn't the jade itself. It was what it reminded me. That energy works best when it's clear, not crowded. And honestly, I think a part of me had just been waiting for permission to carry less. I didn't pick it because it meant something. I picked it because, well, everyone had one. It looked lucky, peaceful, safe. So I thought, why not? But jade only holds what you're ready to give it. And I hadn't given it anything real. I didn't buy it for me. Not really. I bought it because it looked peaceful. Because someone I followed on Instagram said it helped calm their money anxiety. Because 3 of my friends were carrying one. I told myself it was for protection. But deep down, it was about belonging. About not feeling left out of whatever spiritual thing everyone else seemed to know. I clipped it onto my keys and waited. Waited to feel luckier. Safer. Aligned. But nothing happened. Not because jade doesn't work, but because I hadn't given it anything to work with. In Feng Shui, jade is responsive. It holds what you carry inside. And when you pick it from a place of doubt, fear, or trend following, it doesn't push back. It just waits. That's the mistake. I didn't ask myself what I needed. I just copied what looked good. And Jade? Jade can feel that. You might feel like it's not working, like nothing's shifting. You start doubting Feng Shui, or worse, doubting yourself. Money feels blocked, but you don't know where. You carry the jade, but there's no connection. Just quiet heaviness. So I stopped pretending. I unclipped the jade, held it in my palm. No music, no incense, just me and the stone. And I asked myself, why did I choose this? Not what others said, not what I thought it might fix, but what I actually hoped for when I got it. It took me a while. I didn't have the answer right away, but I stayed with the question. Then I did something simple. I sat by the window, let some light fall on the jade, and I whispered, "This is what I need right now." Not what they need, just me. In Feng Shui, that's when alignment begins. Not when the stone is perfect, but when your intention finally becomes honest. That night, I placed it somewhere new, not on my keys, just on a small wooden tray where it could rest, and where I could remember why I chose it in the first place. The first morning after I moved the jade, I walked past it without thinking. Then I stopped. It was still sitting on that wooden tray by the window, just like I left it. Not tucked in my bag, not clipped to my keys, just resting. For a second, I felt weirdly nervous, like I was leaving something important behind, like I was breaking some rule, but I didn't reach for it. I just stood there looking, and I realized I wasn't scared. I was just used to needing something to hold on to. That jade had been with me every single day, but I'd never actually met it until I gave it space. And that morning, I whispered, "You don't need to come with me today. I've got this one." I smiled. It wasn't big, but it was real, and I left the house feeling lighter. Not because I had jade with me, but because I finally knew what it meant to carry myself. After that, I stopped expecting jade to fix anything. And weirdly, that's when it started working. Not like magic, just little things. I'd remember what mattered without overthinking. I stopped carrying guilt in my wallet. I started choosing where I put my energy, not out of fear, but out of clarity. And when people asked what jade meant for me, I didn't quote a book. I just said, it reminds me to come back to myself, because that's what changed. I wasn't using it anymore. I was finally listening to it. Jade doesn't hold your luck. It holds the shape of your intention. And if your intention's clear, we can start resetting your money flow today. First, unclip your jade keychain, gently, with intention. Don't yank it off, like a used trinket. Unclip slowly, let it breathe. Place it somewhere still. A wooden tray, a quiet window, near a soft plant. No screens, no noise, just rest. Let your energy settle without it. In Feng Shui, space speaks. Silence often says more. Second, speak one clear need. Hold the jade in your palm. Close your eyes if you want. Don't ask for everything. Whisper one honest request. Not more money, but maybe. I want to stop fearing decisions. Say it once, mean it. Jade isn't magic. It keeps what you name. Third, place it where your energy begins. Not in your bag, not with clutter. Put it where morning starts. By your toothbrush, on your coffee shelf, by the first light switch. Let it sync with your rhythm. Feng Shui aligns. What's there? You don't have to carry everything. Not the fears. One clear energy, held with care, is enough. If Jade has been with you, maybe it's time to meet it again. As a mirror, if this story touched you, breathe, let it settle. This is our Feng Shui Keychain series. Each charm, a new lesson. If you hold old symbols, or seek new ones, watch the next one. It might change everything.